Welcome to the SIWIKE Podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE Podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. I'm your host, Luki, and for today's topic, I thought we'd talk about how to get a promotion. So this becomes a topic of discussion when folks have got the job, started out, got into a groove, and are looking for their next steps. So when can you start asking for a promotion? And I guess it depends on the typical organization and the type of role. So the kind of the lower level roles, you can probably ask for it a little bit more frequently, and at the higher level roles, it might take a little bit longer. So in an entry level role, maybe after 6 months, 1 or 2 years, might be the appropriate time to be looking at that promotion. But actually, you want to be looking at the promotion before, so you can set yourself up to demonstrate that you're able to operate at that level. So you'll want to take a look at first some of the administrative things. So for certain companies, depending on the size and scale, then there might be certain timings of the year, right? Depending on where their fiscal year or when their calendar year, or sometimes they have separate people years, people will get promoted and evaluated at different points in the year. For some companies, they can happen at multiple times in the year. For other companies, it's going to be a set time frame. So know what it is for yourself, right? For your particular company. Is there a particular timing that, well, if you just miss that deadline or cutoff or whatever, then you'll have to wait for the next cycle. Sometimes they can do kind of a mid-level one or mid-time one, but oftentimes they don't like doing it because it just changes all the administrative and makes the system part of it seem more challenging. And understanding if there are any sort of expectations or frameworks or things that clearly indicate how you should be behaving or what sort of experiences you need to have in order to demonstrate that you can operate at that next level. So for some companies, especially the larger companies, if they have a clear-cut definition of how you go from one level to another, to a senior this, to a next level that, to whatever, then they might actually have clear job descriptions, responsibilities, or activities that you need to do and demonstrate in order to say that you operated at that next level. So what you'll want to do is make sure that within your experience, through your job or extracurriculars or whatever, you can basically, like as if it was a job, to say, okay, yeah, done that, done that, done that, done that. And what you want to also consider is not that you've done it once, but ideally you've had some sort of sustained performance. So you've done that over the past 6 months, 12 months, 18, 24 months, not just you ran one project and it was good. Now, if the project was a 2-year project, well, that's a little bit different. But oftentimes you want at least kind of a 3 to 6, if not 12 or 18 month runway to say that, you know what, I've demonstrated over time that I'm able to do this work well and do it consistently. So making sure whether or not you actually satisfy all the administrative requirements there. And then sometimes you also want to validate with your boss on whether or not you are meeting or exceeding expectations, right? And the other consideration is actually it's not really your boss that has a say in whether or not you get promoted. It's your skip level. So your skip level is not your boss, but your boss's boss, right? So ultimately, it'd be that boss's boss, your skip level, that'll make the decision on who gets promoted up. So what you'll want to do is have a relationship with that person, the skip level. So whether you connect with her or him, and hopefully once or twice a year, go for a one-on-one, have a coffee chat, conversation, and understand their job, how you are fitting in the organization, and whether they're even aware of what you're doing within their group and role. Some skip levels might not be open to that, but for the most part, it'll probably be good if you can manage that discussion. Another part is you want to also start connecting with your boss's peers, because eventually when you get promoted, they will be your peers as well, right? Because you'll be operating at that level. So seeing if you can get and build some meaningful connections, build some good relationships with them, because as you move up in the organization, it'll often be your peers that'll support you, as well as your team at large as well. And if you're wondering how do you get that experience of doing the things that you've had for your boss's level, then what you want to do is take your work and say you have an 8-hour workday and see if you can do it in 7.5, in 7, in 6, and try to make your work so much more efficient so that you have extra time during the day in order to do your boss's work, right? and not necessarily your boss's work per se, but it's work at the level that your boss operates at. And if you can't shorten the time frame, then maybe you want to spend an extra half hour to get some of that experience. And oftentimes I find that the easiest way to get your boss's experience is ask them what are some of the most kind of mundane and administrative tasks that they don't enjoy doing, and taking them off their plate and putting it on yours and doing an amazing job to do it. Because most bosses, they don't want to do kind of that administrative grunt work type work. And pretty much every job has some version of that, but oftentimes at a higher level. So they might be producing like executive reporting or metrics or something like that. So getting that off their plate and systematize it, showing that you can demonstrate your ability to do that work. And asking your boss, hey, could I take oversight of this particular project or whatever, and looking at different opportunities for you to shadow your boss, to be involved in their activities, or to do other things that show that you can operate at that level. And taking that extra little bit of time will be a huge investment in yourself and your future, because other people can see, oh wow, this person's taking initiative, this person is actually putting an investment in the company, and they are demonstrating that they want to get to the next level and are looking to operate at the next level as well. So as you kind of build your skill and expertise and then build those relationships as well, what you want to consider is there is oftentimes, in especially large organization, a bit of politics that happens. And sometimes those politics, really, it's not politics, it's just collaboration, of which different peoples have different priorities, and sometimes those priorities are actually differently aligned. So because there's a fixed amount of budget for the entire company, how it gets allocated to particular, let's say, VPs, then down to particular directors, then down to particular managers, well, you only have a certain slice of the pie. So when you get a slice of the pie, that budget, then other people don't get it. So being able to collaborate and play nice and say, okay, well, how do we make our budget work in collaboration with yours and optimize that? And the more collaborative you are seen and actually operate, then the better you will be at that politics, because politics is just really understanding, well, what do other people value? What are their goals and milestones and metrics? And how do I let those happen, as well as let my own priorities and goals happen as well. So thinking about how you can work with those folks, it is an art. There's a bit of skill that you need to build over time, and understanding how you do that. But getting and building those relationships will allow you to move up the ladder. So you'll want to make sure that you develop kind of the relationship piece of it, the experience piece of that, and when you can do that, then you'll be set for promotion. And then it becomes a matter of kind of the administrative stuff. So are you kind of putting yourself forward in the right time of year, and what have you. And with promotion often comes a salary increase, at least you hope so. So depending on the organization, you want to take a look at, are there pay bands, right? So are you moved up to the pay band? Are you at the bottom or the middle or the top of the pay band? Chances are, if you're moving up, you're going to be closer to the bottom of the pay band, which there might be some overlap with your role, or there might be like a clear-cut kind of ladder. For those that don't have that clear structure, well, how much is that additional work worth to the company? Now that you've been able to demonstrate that for the past 6 months, 12, 18 months, you've been able to do this work at a higher level, how much is that worth to the company, right? Is it an extra 10%, 20%, or 10,000, 20,000, whatever that might translate to? Or is it less, right? Is it just kind of cost of living where it's like 2 or 3% just to manage inflation? So those are the key areas on how to set yourself up for promotion. First of all, you want to start that process a little earlier, because again, you need that time to build that experience. You also need time to build those relationships. So ideally, as you're thinking of promotion, you're thinking of a promotion 2 levels above, right? So you're already thinking about the next level, and then starting to set the framework, the foundations for the level afterwards. And you don't necessarily have to go up your skip level and build the relationships there right away, but you're going to want to start to maneuver that in that direction as you start getting more and more comfortable with your boss's role, or roles at the level of your boss. So that's it for me, and hopefully that was some useful SWIKE, the stuff I wish I knew earlier. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining us on the SWIKE, Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Luki Danu, LUKIDANU, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.